Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to another Daily Dice, where we ask the dice for a message and find out what that is. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you, and anybody new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And if you are truly new here, we do things completely differently on this channel, so I suggest strapping in, hanging on, and you and I are going to find out together. And should the messages happen to resonate along the way, it would truly mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. With that being said, today we are getting a message from a dearly beloved passed on one, or a message from a passed on loved one. We're going to be using the Beloved Dead Oracle Guide, our Oracle cards, if I can talk. I promise you we're going to get there. This is by Carrie Paris and Tina Hart. This is what it looks like. This is a phenomenal deck to work with, just letting you know. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it and find out. And this could be anybody. We'll find out more as we get into it. So source, what Beloved Dead Oracle card will help us better understand the message from a dearly loved passed one on? How do you ask that, right? That's a weird question. What oracle will help us better understand a message from a dearly passed on loved one? Source, what oracle card will help us better understand a message from a dearly loved one, passed on one? All right, past loved one of my fellow humans, what is the message that you have for them today? What oracle card will help us better understand this message? Okay, they want one more. What's the other card you would like for this reading? Okay, we have change. Interesting. Okay, on the bottom, we have prophecy. It's weird. When I saw this, I don't know why I thought oracle. I should have said it, but that's what I thought. And then we have the prophecy card on the bottom, which is actually the image on the book. But this talks about the gift of prophecy, right? Or that they've come to visit you as well. We didn't get the visitation card. No, but I do feel like you have an expectation of what your prophetic gift should look like, or what your psychic gift should look like. And that's something that needs to change here, right? You have this gift to communicate with them. You have this gift to connect with them. Everybody does. Everybody can connect with the divine realm. It's just finding the ways that work best for each of us. So whatever that is, it's just remembering to let go of that expectation that you have for it and open up to the possibility of what could be. I do feel like they really want to connect with you, and they've been trying to connect with you. Maybe you've been understanding the signs and the messages that they've been giving you, but they wanted to go deeper than that. They want to be able to physically talk to you, or to give you these messages, maybe through automatic writing, or through meditation, or through, you know, your dreams, writing your dreams down. It's just like they're trying to give you something more. You've been asking for more, and they're trying to give you that. But if you're not open to it, if you're not open to receiving it, then they're not able to come through with that. So I do feel like this is for someone who is psychic, who knows they're psychic. But we will get into it more. That could just be a very specific message for someone right off the bat. Okay, so dearly beloved, passed on loved one, what is the message that you have today for my fellow humans? What would you like to tell them? Does feel very feminine by nature. It could be a man or masculine energy that was a water sign or an earth sign, but I do feel very heavy feminine energy coming through, like possibly a friend, a mother, a grandmother, an auntie. This could even be a great grandmother, great grandmother coming in. Okay, it could be a sister as well. We've got the 7th house. Interesting. We've got Cancer energy coming in, and we've got Pluto. Yeah, I do feel like there's a resistance here that's coming in. And it could be also because they want you to find the people that are meant to be with you on the journey. With the 7th house here, maybe you've been feeling rather lonely. The 7th house and the Cancer energy together here They really feel like you've been feeling lonely, like they are hearing your cries for help. They're hearing how desperate you are to have somebody in your life that gets you and that understands you. And that, again, with the transformation energy, going back to the change card here, that's that resonant energy there where it's talking about they want you to go through this transformation. And I feel like with the 7th house here, you know, we're talking about interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, partnerships, friendships. It's all types of relationships. So it doesn't have to just be a romantic relationship. This could also be a passed on wife that's coming through as well, seeing how lonely you are and wanting you to connect with people with this Cancer energy, wanting you to open up your heart to heal the mother wound as well, which we deal with the Cancer energy. It's talking about the mother wound. So I do feel like they're telling you that it's okay for you to heal. It's okay for you to move on. It's okay for you to be you. They're not going to be mad about it. No one here is going to be upset for you choosing to live your life when that's all they've ever wanted you to do. But I do feel like there's some discrepancies there with your own personal energy. It's a fear of, like, oh, I'm enjoying life without them. They're not here. They can't enjoy life because they're gone. And with this Pluto energy, they're saying that we want you to live, but you have to face the darkness within. You have to choose to let go of the expectations that you've had on how things needed to be or how things you expected things to be, and open up to what they are here. And Pluto is also connected with Scorpio energy, which is the sign of death and rebirth, right? Which is also connected to the death card in the tarot, which is interesting that they would have Pluto come out on this very reading. So maybe you feel like they were taken too soon, or you feel like they were, you know, there's just something missing. That's what it feels like here. It's like, I wish I could have controlled this, or I wish I could have created something better, or a situation that would have lasted longer. And they're saying there was no controlling this. When it was their time, it was their time. But they don't want to see you suffer anymore. We want to see you find happiness, and we want you to evolve to what life is now and experience that life. You know, and going out and knowing that that's okay. It's okay for you to have new desires. It's okay for you to have this transformation. It's okay for you to evolve. It's okay for things to fall apart through grief so that they can fall into place through what's next for you. And I feel like that's something that's incredibly difficult for you at this time, which grief is one of, and I've talked about this many, many times. I myself have dealt with grief on many occasions, and for people very close to me and my family. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you know some of my stories. But, you know, grief is one of the hardest emotions that we as humans have to experience. And it's the one that can completely destroy our entire lives because we don't necessarily know how to move on from it. We don't know to feel it because it's so heavy and the loss is so great. And grief is actually really a beautiful thing when we break it down, because to grieve someone that much means that you love them that much, but now there's all this love that you have for this person with nowhere to put it. And they're saying that you can still put it with me because I'm here. I'm walking this journey with you. I'm showing up with you. I'm never leaving you alone. I do feel like you're getting signs and synchronicities that they're here. Wow, we've got the 10 of Swords coming out right away. Yeah, there's a deep, deep sadness here. A deep, deep loss, and they're feeling that, okay? Wow, and this is interesting because they're showing me the 5 of Cups from the Rider-Waite-Smith, which I don't read Rider-Waite-Smith, but I do know their meanings. I do know what they represent, but the 5 of Cups from the Rider-Waite-Smith talks about great sorrow. The 10 of Swords from the Rider-Waite-Smith talks about betrayal, right? And heavy burdens and feeling lost. And in the Tarot Marseille, we talk about networking with the 5 of Cups. But with the 10 of Swords, it talks about emotional exhaustion. And so with both of these cards to come out and with them showing me immediately the Rider-Waite-Smith, they're showing me that there's this deep sorrow that you're not overcoming the grief. Look, with the sword through this buffalo's eyes, right? It's like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to feel what I need to feel because it's too intense. And this sadness from this horse. is overwhelming, right? There's no freedom here, and horse represents freedom, but there's no freedom here because it's being burdened by the grief. So for you, they're coming in and they're saying, like, we want you to grieve to be free. We don't want you to feel like you always have to put your life on hold because we're gone. That was never what our death was meant to represent. Well, we're seeing you put your life on hold because we're no longer there. And we understand that too, but we don't want you to live in that energy any longer. This could have been a Gemini or a Scorpio in your life. You could be a Gemini or a Scorpio as well. But I do feel like there's a hard time articulating exactly what it is that you're experiencing right now. And they're also showing me that it would be okay for you to find someone that has, like can do like, what is that? Grief counseling. Grief counseling is okay. You can sometimes go in a group setting so you can hear other people's stories and know that you're not alone, right? Yeah, the Daughter of Pentacles. So this is the Page of Pentacles. We want you to find your innocence again and not be lost in the darkness. The darkness is overwhelming right now, and we're doing everything that we can to remind you that we're with you. But when we give you those reminders, we see that it's making you even more sad. When we show you that we're still here walking the journey with you, it's making you even more brokenhearted. And that was never our intent. We just wanted to remind you that you have the connection with us as well, and that we're still with you. Death is not an ending. It's an unknown beginning. But I feel like for you, it's been this ending, and it's been so final, and that finality of it has made it feel impossible to move on. But they want you to try again. They want you to start again. They want you to have this new beginning with the Fool underneath here. They want you to free yourself from the sadness, from the hurt, from the pain. And with the Five of Cups coming out, that dualistic symbolism that's coming through, the symbology that's coming through, also reminding you to network, to connect with people who've experienced a similar loss as you. There are people out there who are able to connect with you in that way. Maybe you need to go to a psychic medium and get a reading done so that they can come through directly for you, not on a group reading, right? Like, this is a collective message. So there's a lot of different energies coming in, but so they can give you more specific energy, so that they can give you more specific message. And that's a very specific message too in and of itself, but that might help you. It also might help you to study the divine realm so that you can find ways to connect with them. But they're definitely trying to connect with you. They're definitely trying to give you this message, but there's so much sadness. And when you're in a low vibration of sadness, right, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're in that low vibration, it's hard for us to receive any higher vibrational messages, which is from the divine realm. It has to come from a higher vibration. We have to be in a higher vibration. So right now they're feeling the sadness, and they're trying to help. Loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. We are all connected. Look at this image. All these women here connected on the earth. Right, again, that feminine energy coming in. So this does feel like it is a woman that's coming in. It doesn't have to be, though. Right? But it could be a Gemini, a Scorpio, Cancer, or Libra energy coming in. Also earth signs, Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. But remembering that you're not alone on this journey, but they're seeing you experience that loneliness, and they don't want you to go through that anymore. They don't want you to feel like no one gets you. And the more that we convince ourselves that no one's going to understand us, the more that we're going to find situations that is true, where people aren't going to understand us, or where people haven't dealt with a similar death, or people haven't even dealt with death. There are people who haven't dealt with death and they don't know what to say, or there are people who are just so removed from it that when you talk about it, they just sit in silence and stare at you like you're crazy, like, oh my gosh, and so sometimes we really have to connect with people who know and who are free and willing to talk about that. We have cleanse, yeah. We want you to cleanse your energy. We want you to free yourself, and cleansing is through the tears. Cry the tears. Don't feel bad about crying the tears. When you cry the tears for me, that's you healing from what has happened. The goodbye that maybe we never got to say, or the goodbye that we did get to say, but was hoping that it wouldn't be the last time. Life is such a precious gift. And if my leaving leaves you in this despair, you're not getting to live the gift. And I want you to live the gift. Magic. We want you to open to the magic again. The possibility of life. Nothing is final. There's only transitions. Okay, they want one more of these. Yeah, be at home. We are always with you, and I feel like you feel them the most when you're at home. Maybe their pictures are nearby, or that's when you might smell their perfume, or they might smell their cologne or their shampoo or their soap, and you might feel their energy close by, and they're saying that we're right with you. Like, you might think that you're going crazy, but you're not. You're actually far more connected than you're giving yourself credit for. Look at this. We even have the owl spirit, and the owl spirit is the messenger of death, the messenger between the spiritual realm and the physical realm from those that have passed on. You see clearly now. Trust that you're receiving messages from them. They're walking this journey with you. You've never been alone. They would never leave you alone. Yeah, they're definitely being very clear about this. Friendship. Didn't I say at the beginning this could have been a friend? I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. So they're saying that it's time for you to connect with other people, especially with the Five of Cups here, right? To help you overcome the sorrow, it's important for you to connect with someone else. Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things, even the things that hurt. There's still good there. There's still something to be learned. There's still something to glean from it. And that's what they're saying. But we also have the purple color here with the energy of the crown chakra, right? So they've been trying to give you messages, and I feel like you've been getting inspiration to go places, but you've been finding it hard to inspire yourself to go because you miss them so much, because, you know, it might remind you of them. But this is encouragement for you to go and find people to connect with. Stop. This is interesting. Yeah, stop the sadness here. Stop being like, what happens? Okay, and they're not trying to be rude. This is not a rude message in any way. But with this stop energy, what happens is when grief is guiding us, we let grief take over every part of our lives, and we become depressed and miserable, and we can't move beyond this feeling. And what they're saying is that in order for you to move beyond this feeling, you have to choose something else. You have to stop where you're going. You know, when my mom was in the hospital with cancer, she had brain cancer, and she passed away from brain cancer. But I'll never forget, there was this adorable little Vietnamese nurse who was so amazing, and I think her name was Jing. And she would always tell my mom, because my mom would spiral when she was there, and she would just get really upset, and she would, you know, get really negative, and she'd start spouting off all these crazy negative things. And it's not like it was unwarranted, because that's how she felt. But I remember this nurse would come in, and she'd be like, okay, now it's time for you to say stop. She'd say, I need you to imagine a stop sign. She's like, and I need you to turn down a different direction, turn down a different street. Find something that is positive. Find something that is beautiful. And so I feel like with that, it's interesting that that's the story that they're bringing through with this. But that's what I'm feeling for you here, is that they're trying to tell you to stop going down that negative direction of, you know, like, this is my life. Everything bad happens to me. I lost my person, or I lost this friend, or I lost this person I love so much. And that's just how life is. And you start to spiral because you get stuck in your head, which is the 10 of Swords energy as well. And they're saying that when you stop and choose a different direction, rather seeing it, you know what, I'm so blessed that they were in my life. I'm so glad I had an opportunity to love someone so much that I get to grieve now that they're gone. Not everybody gets that opportunity where they've loved somebody so much that they get to grieve. You know, like, people grieve the loss of material things. People grieve the loss of jobs. People grieve the loss of physical things in this realm. But to love someone so much, to have grief when they're gone as a physical person and they've transitioned, that's a beautiful thing. And that's something that they want you to remember, is that to focus on the positive instead of the negative, that they're gone. You know, and it sounds morbid, but the truth is, in this life, no one gets out alive. All of us will eventually perish, and that's a part of this life, and that's what makes it so precious. And for them to come through and say this now, they're saying, we want you to remember the gift that is your life, and we want you to live that gift. Time for a beginner mindset, to begin again. Sometimes we have to start over from where we once were, and that's okay. This is the ending of a cycle for you. This is also a karmic cycle as well. So this is something that maybe your family has dealt with many times as well. When people have passed away in your family, no one's talked about their grief, and it's been a very difficult thing for you and for your family and for people in your family. So we're going to check out these cards. I'm going to read these from the book. We have entertainment and change. So let's check out change. I'm going through changes. It says, nobody wakes up, stretches their arms into the air while yawning, and says, bring on something unpredictable and unwanted with this potential to disrupt the very foundations on which my life is based. And that's what we've been talking about this whole time. Mostly, we want a steaming cup of the status quo, something known, manageable, and easy on our nerves, gray matter, and not the battering and impudent winds of change, at least not today. Despite our incredible reservoirs of ingenuity and resilience, we're all creatures of habit, and yet change is constant. It greets us in every waking moment. The rain melts the snow, the wind dries the earth, buds in the blink of an eye unfurl into verdant landscape. We follow the natural cycles of birth, growth, and death to sow, nurture, then reap, celebrating the harvest before resting with the fallow fields. Change always ushers in a positive, necessary, and organizing energy. If you receive change, it indicates a turning of the tides. What is becomes was. Your response will activate the process of will be until it is again. The sequence of events may be experienced as the very best thing ever, or as unsettling, opening old wounds caused by upheaval and impermanence. In any case, this oracle likens the experience to a revolving wheel. Resisting change is like clutching the spokes, an act of control and desperation that will take you down into a vortex of unstable momentum. Ground yourself in reality, in the hub of the will, and allow it to circle around you. An attitude of acceptance helps you to work in harmony with this external force. This too will pass. It says the destiny of every human being is decided by what goes on inside his skull when confronted by what goes on outside of his skull. This is by a quote by Dr. Eric Byrne. Wow. And we were talking about that change, right? To shift. That's the stop energy here, to change your direction. That's what they're saying. It's very important. So again, it does feel like a feminine energy coming in, just reminding you, and reminding you too that you're not alone and that they are walking with you. Okay, so entertainment says, this is the patron card of performers, professionals, and amateur musicians, actors, and those who would make their world a stage, or their stage a world of entertainment. Entertainment is validation for a loved one who was the life of the party, cracking jokes and effortlessly commanding an audience wherever they went. Or at times they brought their guitar to the campfire. It's the experience of driving down a dark road thinking about a loved one and suddenly their song comes on the radio. Didn't I say that they've been talking to you through music too? Oh my gosh, I love that confirmation. This card could be reminding you of the therapeutic power of amusement and a lighter, happier approach rather than taking everything so seriously. The beloved dead of entertainment insists on letting the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra perform the rest of this message. Are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? You better have some fun. You ain't gonna live forever. I cannot with that synchronicity. Are you having any fun? What are you getting out of living? You better have some fun. You ain't gonna live forever. What was I saying? They want you to, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Like, I was talking about that this whole time where they're saying we want you to live this precious gift, this life. What? I love that. Let me just check out prophecy really quick. Prophecy says, when describing you or someone on either side of the veil validates an experience or a gift for divination, prophetic dreams or sight, intuition or mediumship, and connecting with consciousness that survived death. Alternatively, this card exhumes the specter of a prediction that keeps on rattling its chains. You've been told many untruths growing up. Life is unfair. You can't always get what you want. Love sucks. Why can't you be more like? Beggars can't choose. You'll never amount to anything unless you don't cry, feel, or trust. Dreams don't come true. Get a real job. You're a fill in the blank with any limiting definition that has been thrown your way. The list is long. When the beloved dead of prophecy steps forward, it asks, what prediction has set up residency in your unconsciousness that you keep enacting over and over again? What's become a self-fulfilling prophecy? And we were talking about this feeling like a family curse, a generational curse, where no one has dealt with their grief. And every time grief happens, it's like, oh, if we just don't talk about it, it'll go away. But you're experiencing that it actually becomes bigger when you don't talk about it. It becomes unbearable when it's shoved down into a little jar, and hopefully that jar will hold. But you're recognizing that it's starting to crack, and those cracks are sending you down spiraling rabbit holes. And so this message is coming today, and this person is coming in to remind you that you need to live life, but it's okay for you also to find people to talk to about your grief, even if it's going to like grief counseling or a therapist or some sort of counseling of that nature. But there are people out there who can help you work through this part of the process so that you're not so stuck in the grief of it, in the heaviness of it, because I feel like that heaviness is what's keeping you stuck in life. But they are with you, and they're constantly reminding you that they're with you. And if you ask them today for a sign, please show me that you're with me, they're gonna come out and they're gonna give you something. Just being open to receiving that. That way, then, when it comes, you will know that that was especially from them. So if something's special to you, like, I don't know, maybe a specific song or maybe a certain movie or something like that, you know, ask them for that confirmation, and be open to however it comes. It might come in a stream of words. It might come as someone saying it to you, whatever it comes as. But being open to that is how powerful it can be for you to connect with them. And that will give you that connection, and not to expect it to be like someone else's gift, right? Don't sit there and expect your gift to be like my gift. Don't expect your gift to be like Sandra Brown's gift or Rebecca Rosin's or anybody's, because your gift is unique to you. But everybody has the ability to connect with the other side if we trust in the process and if we allow them to come forth to give us those messages, right? They're waiting to be seen. They're waiting to be heard, and they want you to know that you're not alone. I love this message for you. I'm so sorry that you've had to deal with this, and I'm giving you a big, big, big energetic hug. You are so loved, supported, and held. Okay, but this is what I see for you. Do you want to take a quick second? If this resonated with you, it means so much to me for you to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you felt like this was your message, leave the little feather emoji down below and say, I trust in the signs and synchronicities that I'm receiving. I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, as well as your beloved passed on loved one who came through. And with that, I love you, and I'm honored to be able to connect with you. And until next time, stay human. Bye.